Hello there, fifth grade science students. Mr. McIntosh here with a little tutorial video for a website that I just thought you might have some fun uh, exploring on your own. Since we've been talking about maps, the USGS, which is a cool government service, the U.S. Geological Survey, has a thing called the National Map. Now, you can get to this just by going to usgs.gov and then coming over here under your maps and data. I have gone directly to the National Map page, which is what I'm going to give you the link for. What you're able to do is scroll on down here till you find the National Map Viewer. There are some other things where you might want to check out. There are training videos through YouTube to help you to discover the skills of making the most of this map viewer. But I'm going to take you over here to Let's Make My Map, because what's cool about this is that it will bring up a map here of the United States. You can go to different areas, but for example, if I want to find some information about the area where I live, I'm just going to come up here and I can put Texas. I'm going to put Denison, Texas. It's going to offer me some choices. I'm going to choose Denison because there was Denison, Iowa in there. Once I get to this location, then I can zoom in or zoom out using my scroll mouse, or I can use the plus or minus over here to zoom in or zoom out. I'm going to show you a little bit about the area close to where I live over here by Waterloo Park. Let's start off by just showing you some of the choices that you have over here. Now you have a National Geographic map, Oceans map, the open street, two different street maps, a topographic map, which is kind of cool because it shows you the elevation of this area, more USA topo maps, imagery or satellite maps. These are cool to explore, except for the fact that, of course, they take a little bit longer to load. Hydrocache shows all of the water sources. And then just the USGS national map, which is where we are right now. Once you find this, let me come on to a street map, just because I want to show you something that's kind of interesting once you find the street map. So I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more. Now, after you choose your map, you can just close that out. I'm going to zoom in a tiny bit more so that we can look at some distances. So I can start here where you see this little ruler up here. I can put this over here. It's going to either measure a certain amount of area if I specify that amount of area. It can measure the distance, and it can measure location. Now the location, I'm sure, is going to give us a GPS. Once again, down here, you notice this is giving me the GPS coordinates of my cursor, where my mouse is going. But if I wanted to measure, say, the distance, say I go out and I walk a certain path every day, right? And let's say that I walk from my house, and my house, I'm just going to make up an address. I'm going to say, let's see, I don't want to measure it in miles. I'm going to measure it in feet. And that will give me an idea of how much of a mile that I walk every day. Let's say I live up here at the corner of West Morgan and South Eddy Street. Well, I'll just click there to start my walk. And then I walk down here to Hull Street and I turn. I'll click again here. Then I go on Hull Street to Lang Street and Lang Street down here to the park. Okay. Now it's going to tell me right over here that I've walked 7,147.5 feet from my house to the park. Well, that's a mile is about 5,280 feet. So you can see that I've walked somewhere around 1.5 miles just to get to the park. And then, of course, I would walk that same distance if I went the same path back. Now, I could go another path back, but this is kind of cool. If I wanted to do that in miles, I could do the same thing, and it will give me that distance in miles. Let's go from West Morgan Street and South Eddy to Hull to Lang to the park. That's about 1 1/3 miles. About 1 1/3 miles. So it would be about 2.66 miles to get me back home, or 2.64. Now, this is just one thing in terms of measuring distance. Another thing that's kind of cool is you can measure the elevation. Let's see here, spot elevation. And since we've been studying latitude and longitude, I thought you might get a kick out of this one, because what it will do is it will activate and show me the areas wherever I make a dot. It's going to tell me the elevation is 758 feet above sea level. It will give me that in meters. But you'll notice down here also that it gives me the latitude and longitude, 33 degrees and 96 degrees. That's 33 north, 96 west, if you remember that. I can do other spots. It's going to keep a record of the spots that I request. So when I come down here to Hull Street, it's going to measure a second point. I went from 758 to 753. So I actually went downhill a little bit. And of course, my GPS coordinates changed a little bit also. So this one's a lot of fun. Then you can deactivate it to get rid of those. The last one I want to share with you, because this is a lot of fun also, is the elevation profile. This one's kind of cool also, because what it's going to do is it's going to say, well, from my house here at West Morgan Street and South Eddy, I'm going to walk to Hull Street, and I'm going to walk over to Lang Street, and I'm going to walk down to the park. Now, once I have done that, it's going to show me over here whether I'm going uphill or downhill as I walk from my house. Starts me over here at my house, and you see the red X up here that's indicated. From my house, I'm actually walking uphill to that point in my walk, and then I'm walking downhill and uphill and downhill. I'm actually going quite a ways from 600, from 700. Where did I start out? 758 feet. And when I get to the park, I am at about 681 feet. So this shows me how much I'm walking uphill or downhill. Now, guys, these are just a couple of the things that you can do on this map. They are so cool. And as I said, you may want to just go in here and explore with all of these different maps that you can check out. Topographic maps will tell you the highs and the lows. These contour lines will tell you. And once you set this up, you can find out, go back to your elevation, your spot elevation, activate that, and then find any point that you want. For example, here at Morgan, trying to think where Eddy Street was, where I was doing that, I can still do the same thing and find out that that particular position is 780 feet in elevation, and there are my GPS coordinates right down here, 33 north and 96 west. Have some fun with this, guys. I love maps. I think they're a great way to get a good sense of how big the Earth is and the different ways to explore it. So enjoy this, guys, and I will see you next week if I don't see you sometime in one of the meetings this week.